Imagine you are on a luxury cruise ship. Beautiful ocean, new friends, amazing food. But one by one, people start dying, and nobody knows why. This is a real story, and it happened just a few weeks ago. Hello, and welcome back to FluentoLab, the channel where real stories help you learn real English. Today's story is shocking. It is scary, but it is also very important. We are going to talk about a deadly virus called Hantavirus and what happened on a cruise ship in 2026. I will explain everything slowly and clearly. You will learn new vocabulary, improve your listening, and understand a major world event. Let's begin. On April 1st, 2026, a cruise ship left the city of Ushuaia in Argentina. About 150 people were on board, passengers and crew members from 23 different countries. The ship was heading to Antarctica and some remote islands in the South Atlantic Ocean. For the first few days, everything was normal. People enjoyed parties, made new friends, and had a great time. Nobody knew that this trip was about to become a nightmare. About 5 days into the trip, a 70-year-old Dutch passenger suddenly got sick. He had a fever, high body temperature, a headache, pain in the head, mild diarrhea, stomach problems. He visited the ship's doctor, but his condition got worse very quickly. He started having difficulty breathing. He could not breathe properly. On April 11th, he died on the ship. At that time, nobody knew the cause of his death. The other passengers were sad, but they continued enjoying the trip. They thought it was just a normal illness. That was a big mistake. On April 24th, the ship stopped at St. Helena Island, near Africa. The dead man's wife got off the ship there, carrying her husband's body. She then traveled to South Africa. On April 25th, she was at the airport, ready to fly to Amsterdam. But suddenly, she collapsed at the airport. She was so sick that she could not board the plane. The next day, April 26th, she also died. Back on the ship, more people were getting sick. On April 28th, a German woman became ill. Just 4 days later, on May 2nd, she died too. 3 people were now dead, and still, nobody knew why. On May 2nd, the situation was finally reported to the World Health Organization, also known as the WHO. Tests were done. The results came back. The diagnosis was Hantavirus. This was serious news, very serious. Hantavirus is a deadly virus. There is no vaccine, there is no cure, and it can kill up to 50% of infected people. That means 1 in every 2 people who get it could die. Now this virus was spreading on a ship in the middle of the ocean. No country wanted to let the ship dock. The story became international news. Let's quickly review some important words. Passenger, a person traveling on a ship, plane, or train. Crew member, a person who works on a ship or plane. Fever, high body temperature, a sign of illness. Collapsed, fell down suddenly due to illness. Diagnosis, identifying what disease someone has. Vaccine, a medicine that prevents a disease. Cure, a treatment that completely stops a disease. Remote, far away from people and cities. What is Hantavirus? Now let's understand this virus more deeply. Hantavirus is not one single virus. It is a family of viruses, meaning there are many different types. These viruses are carried by rodents, animals like rats and mice. Different rodents carry different types of hantaviruses. In humans, these viruses cause 2 main diseases. Disease 1, HFRS, hemorrhagic fever with renal syndrome, found mainly in Asia and Europe. The kidneys stop working. internal bleeding begins. Disease 2, HPS, Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, found mainly in North and South America. Fluid fills the lungs. The person cannot breathe and eventually dies. Both diseases are extremely dangerous. The death rate can reach 50%. And the most frightening fact? Even though scientists have known about this virus for 70 years, there is still no approved vaccine or antiviral treatment. Doctors can only provide supportive care, keeping the patient comfortable while their own immune system fights the virus. The virus was first identified during the Korean War in the 1950s. American soldiers fighting in South Korea suddenly became very sick. More than 3,000 soldiers had high fever, headaches, vomiting, and kidney failure. About 15% of them died. Doctors called it Korean hemorrhagic fever, but they could not find the cause. Some even thought it might be a chemical weapon. The mystery continued for nearly 30 years. Then, around 1980, a South Korean scientist named Dr. Ho Wang Lee finally identified the virus. He named it after the Hantan River, which flows through Korea. 1993 outbreak in America. The most dramatic hantavirus story happened in 1993 in the southwestern United States. In just a few weeks, 10 Native American Navajo people died. All of them were young and healthy. Their symptoms were the same. 1. First, flu-like fever. 2. Then, fluid in the lungs. 3. Then, death. At first, scientists were completely confused. But then tribal elders shared something important. Their traditional knowledge said, after heavy rains, pine nut trees produce more food. More food means more rodents. More rodents means more disease. This was incredibly valuable information. Scientists followed this clue and found the virus in local rodents. It was a new type of hantavirus. They also discovered that the outbreak was connected to El Niño, a climate event that causes unusual rainfall around the world. Heavy rain leads to more food, leads to more rodents, leads to more virus, leads to more human infections. This connection is especially worrying today because scientists expect a major El Niño event in 2026. Niño event in 2026. For a long time, scientists believed hantavirus could only spread from animals to humans, not from person to person. But in 1996, an outbreak in southern Argentina changed everything. A strain called the Andes virus was discovered, and this strain could spread from human to human. Even today, the Andes virus is the only hantavirus with confirmed human-to-human transmission. But here is some good news. It does not spread through the air like COVID-19 or the flu. It requires prolonged, close physical contact, like sharing a bed or contact with bodily fluids. This is why it usually spreads between family members or caregivers. Scientists also found that some people are super spreaders. They infect more people than usual. But the virus has a very short transmission window, usually just 1 day early in the illness. So, the same Andes virus was what spread on the cruise ship. But how did it get on board? In March 2026, the Dutch couple took a birdwatching tour near Ushuaia. They visited a landfill, a large area where garbage is dumped, full of rodents. They were exposed to the virus there. And because they returned to the ship immediately, the virus came with them, right into a closed space with 150 people. If they had waited just a few more days, the transmission window would have closed, and nobody else would have been infected. By May 10th, 2026, 10 confirmed cases on the ship, 3 people dead. Several passengers medically evacuated, removed from the ship for emergency treatment. 4 patients remained in hospitals, 1 in South Africa, 2 in the Netherlands, and one in Switzerland. For several days, the ship drifted near Cape Verde, but the country refused to allow docking. Finally, Spain gave permission for the ship to dock at Tenerife in the Canary Islands on May 10th. Passengers were evacuated and tested. 2 Indian crew members also traveled to the Netherlands and were placed in quarantine, even though they showed no symptoms. Could this become a pandemic? The question everyone is asking: could hantavirus be the next pandemic? The good news: experts say the risk is low for 2 reasons. Reason 1, the transmission window is very short, about 1 day. This makes it much harder to spread widely. Reason 2, it does not travel through the air. Unlike COVID-19 or the flu, it needs very close physical contact. The WHO has confirmed that the global risk remains low, but this is still a serious wake-up call. A virus with a 50% death rate and no cure is always dangerous, especially as climate change and El Niño events increase the rodent population worldwide. How to protect yourself. Here are simple steps to stay safe. Seal your home. Block any gaps or holes where rats or mice could enter. Wear an N95 mask and gloves if you visit places with many rodents, like old buildings, storage rooms, or landfills. Be careful around rodent droppings, the small waste left by rats and mice. Keep food covered and dispose of garbage properly. Maintain good hygiene. Wash your hands regularly and keep your living space clean. Hantavirus has been quietly infecting people for 70 years. It is not new, but most people have never heard of it. Now you have. And the best weapons we have against it are awareness and prevention, knowing about it, and taking simple steps to avoid it. Today you learned these important English words: remote, far away; collapsed, fell down suddenly; diagnosis, identifying a disease; rodents, rats, mice, small animals; transmission, spreading of disease; quarantine, isolation to prevent spreading; wake-up call, an important warning; supportive care, treatment that helps comfort, not cure. If you found this helpful, please like the video and subscribe to FluentoLab for more real-world English stories every week. See you in the next one.